Hi, I'm William. I just want to give some context for a video I've put together. It's kind of a rant video, and it has to do with my favorite subject, I guess my passion, which would be movies, film directing, and that sort of thing. And so it's got a few different layers to it, but ultimately it comes, I guess, a few weeks after, maybe even a month after, the CBC announced that they're going to be hiring 50%, at least 50%, women directors for their TV programs.
Hollywood is run by Jews. It's owned by Jews.
There's a tendency to codify that a little bit more. You can generalize a little bit more because apparently it is okay to say white straight males. There's too many white straight males. There's also at the same time another parallel issue that has been happening for a little while now, and that is people questioning whether or not the film by credit, the possessive director's credit, is necessarily fair. Well, the idea that, let's say in television, for example, it's always been that the producer, writer is in charge. They decide what the theme's going to be, they decide the content, and they have the last word. So the director is a guest. So again, Kevin Smith has talked a lot about that on his podcasts about his experience directing episodes of The Flash and now Supergirl. And how do you work with a cinematographer? How does each director work with the cinematographer? In the case of this particular theme, you don't really see a lot of publicity about a campaign for more female cinematographers. I am somebody that really likes the idea of storyboarding, and that could be considered a way of trying to own the directing of something, own the choice of frame, and so on and so forth. And for some people, that's control freak territory, and that's fine with me too. I'm not somebody that is personally overbearing. I would rather be very calm about the preparation of something and say to a cinematographer, hey, this is the way I like to do things. I like to storyboard the entire thing. I'd also do maps in addition to that of the floor plan and the area, that kind of thing. But the storyboards for me are a big deal, and having to go through that process and work those things out myself, again because of what I like to call film grammar, which is not my term, it's just one that's thrown around a lot, and getting an idea of that, and that's the psychology of the frame, the displacement impact of a cut, and how all of that is used. So, with that in mind, here's my half-assed little rant. Now they say that, and people forget this, I guess one of the great things about the digital revolution is that the now more than ever, the means of production are in the hands of the worker. And that's what I consider myself if I'm directing one of my projects. I don't consider myself the producer or whatever the case may be, even if I have to do that as well by default sometimes. But back in like 2001 and 2003, whatever, that kind of thing, I had a Bravo Fact grant short, and that was nice, and a Ontario Arts Council grant, and Emerging Artist grant. I think I'm still emerging as it turned out, but I was stuffing envelopes at Lyft that year, and as part of my volunteer hours, and the late great Roberto Originello was in charge that year, and he came along and asked me what I've been doing lately, and I mentioned my grant and Big Babies, my musical satire of the abortion debate. And he said, "Oh, I know Big Babies. I fought for that project." And he told me the story of how he was on the council and he was the only male. That was good to hear. You kind of need that little bit of affirmation. A lot of the time we see memes on the internet that tell us, just stay the course and believe in yourself, and no matter, even if everybody else is saying no. I'm not quite sure that's always the truth. I think I grew up thinking that and reading Skywalking about George Lucas and that kind of thing, and it seemed like, hey, nobody believed in Star Wars, so or his other movies, but he went ahead and did it, and so that was what I believe. And then the Phantom Menace happens, and you think, I mean, we all have to kind of do our thing with whatever means we have. It doesn't seem to occur to other people. I don't know that they can also get a camera and just get their people together, and obviously they can network on the internet, and they're socially connected and that kind of thing, even in person. And the movie you want to make, and you have access to a camera, any digital camera, even a DSLR. Most of the times can shoot HD. Some people are shooting them on cell phones and getting into festivals and that. A lot of the time, I think people look at glass ceiling. They look at who's being hired for special jobs and that kind of thing. And it would never even really occur to me that I should be hired for a TV show or something, because I don't really have a lot of cachet to my name. I haven't done my first feature yet. I've just been doing shorts. And now I want to come to my point here. Scrolling through my Facebook feed, I came across a link and comments from a page I'd been following. I won't name it. The apparent problem of that middle-aged white straight males. They're getting a disproportionate opportunity to direct films or TV shows. Of course, those godforsaken middle-aged white males. First, I'll address the elephant in the room, who is usually me. I see a lot of online body shaming and body image kind of things, because that's what people want to hear. They want to hear that, and we want to appeal to the consumer, and the consumers we're all getting maybe a little bit soft, some of us, I don't know, but my problem isn't weight shaming or image. It is that I have too much fat on me. And that's not just superficial. You can have gout, sore knees, bad back, type 2 diabetes. That could be called weight-splaining. You can throw shade at anything I say by calling it white-splaining, mansplaining, middle-age-splaining, straight-splaining, or nerd-splaining. I've only recently learned the term white knighting, which is like virtue signaling and social justice warriors and that kind of thing. Now, God bless, the Young Turks. I think they're excellent. It's a gross generalization to say that if you acknowledge these things as existing, then you are part of the alt-right or something. And I've run into it a few times without necessarily knowing there was already a name to it. The axiom is, the first draft of anything is crap. A comment on a discussion board may follow the same principle. Spike Lee has that quote that seems paradoxical: those who tell don't know, and those who know don't tell. The push, and this is the issue that we're talking about, is to ensure more women are directing. Now, if directing has nothing to do with what is between your legs, which is something we've heard before, if that were the real issue, there'd be no debate. That's fine. I mean, I'd point to Anna Lily Amirpour, who made, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. It was a good vampire movie. And I could have included Jennifer Kent, who made The Babadook, or Julie Taymor. I was asked whether I think women have a style of directing most of the time. I mentioned a discussion in which it was suggested by someone else, not by me, that women aren't visual. There's not as much necessarily love for the camera or the framing, the use of the frame, and what I would call film grammar and that kind of thing. There's just, you're covering this. But I also mentioned there's a perception that women are most likely to prop up Robert Altman. And I did describe him as a sacred cow of film directing. And, there are some films that he happens to have directed that I might like. MASH, for example. Okay. So if somebody's just wanting that status and whatever, that I can understand that. That's cool. And that's definitely something that's within reach. That was one of the points that I was trying to make. It is within reach for even a director, male or female, who isn't necessarily all that good to get there. I mean, Altman chose subject matter that got him respect. There's a lot of movies getting disproportionate respect maybe because of their choice of political subject matter. I don't know. Most people in the discussion, and a related one with the person who runs the page, weren't rhyming off names like I am, of, let's say, the most talented women. They were making the assertion that there are different ways to direct, and that film grammar doesn't have to be one particular way. Well, that compromises the whole discussion. I think I'm the only one pointing to women who have demonstrated that they can use the frame in an exciting way. The thrust instead was back to the idea of, and this word didn't really come up, but it was really there between the lines, the idea of meritocracy that was being created by white middle-aged males to keep only them in the loop for directing jobs or whatever. That idea kind of went viral with Project Greenlight participant insisting that a black director was necessary for a movie that they were doing that year because the script had one black character, a prostitute, and that protecting her was the priority issue in choosing a director. Matt Damon argued otherwise, and this led to the internet word Damonsplaining. Thanks for watching.